Good afternoon. It's a great day in Boerne, Texas. I'm Joi Sanders, and welcome to Sell Wine to Joi, where we explore different wines from all over the world. And today, my special guest is a friend of mine from so long, Krista Bryant. Krista, tell everybody about how we know each other, please. Can you?
Yeah,
Can
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today. Gosh, we go back to when you opened Richter Tavern or before.
Yes.
And I was walking the streets of Boerne with my wine bag and would come in and taste wines with you. And we were so excited for the opening and helping you kind of curate a list here that would benefit, give you all the different options that you need on a wine list, wine program, help you open so that you could showcase it to all of Boerne.
I'm so glad to have the friendship with you for so long. It's so great. And you really were my wine mentor. You were the first one to really teach me about wine and how to really taste wine, like compare different wines. I know that when we started and it was just so great, you really helped set up Cork and Keg and the tavern with me. And I'm just so happy to have you here.
Oh, well, thank you. And then I know you kept going with your education and now have a WSET 3.
I do. Craziness. It's so crazy. I must be insane. So we're going to try 3 wines today. I am so excited. Some of them we already have on the menu, but we'll try some new stuff too. So why don't you tell me the 3 wines that you have today?
Okay. Well, although it has kind of felt like spring all winter, soon we will actually be going into official spring. So I thought what better time to explore some different options for rosés. Great for the patio, great just to sip on, great with warm weather. So that's what we've got today are 3 different rosés, different styles, so that we can kind of see what the differences are and then help you choose one that fits your program.
I love that. You know how to push my buttons. You have for so long. So thank you so much for being here. So why don't we start with the first one? And this one we actually do have in the Cork and Keg already, and I love this wine. But I want you to go ahead and talk about it and tell us all about it.
Okay. Well, the first one, when people, know rosé and drink rosé, you think Provence, you think Southern France, you think the Mediterranean. And so the first one that we're going to try today is from that exact area, and this is called X Rosé, and this is from Provence, very close to the town of Aix-en-Provence, hence their name. And then the second one that we're going to try, we're actually going down to Chile. So this is a South American rosé, which is you don't see a lot of. So I'm excited to try this, and you'll see kind of stylistically how they are different, how it's not going to taste exactly the same as the French rosé, although they're using a lot of the same grapes in the blend. It's very different. And then the final one is from a region called Tavel in Château in the Southern Rhône. And all they make there is rosé, strictly rosé. They don't make any white wine. They don't make any red wine. The entire region is dedicated to rosé, but it's a very different style of rosé than you see in the neighboring Provence. So I'm excited to try that with you too.
Well, I'm excited for all of them. I'm a big fan of rosé, as you well know.
As am I, yeah.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and taste the X and have a little talk about it.
All right. Well, first of all, what you'll see on a lot of rosés, because they are meant to be drunk young and fresh and they're very vibrant, is that you'll see the twist-off caps or Stelvin closures, as they're referred to. They're actually a great closure. It's not any kind of a sign of the quality of the wine. It's actually sometimes superior to corks because you have less air that gets into the bottle. So this X Rosé does have this Stelvin closure, which keeps it nice and fresh.
I agree wholeheartedly with the whole, a lot of people think, oh, if it's a screw top, it must be a bad wine, but it's not. It's because that wine needs to stay fresh. And people think, oh, the older the wine, the better. But when you talk about rosés and a lot of whites, you really don't want those wines old. You really want them fresh. You want those to get those pronounced aromas and that fresh feel. Yep. It's a nice light rosé in color.
Yeah, you just get that little hint of pink.
What grapes are in this one?
So this one is Grenache. There is also a little bit of Cinsault in this blend, and then there is some Syrah. And you're going to find Syrah as kind of a focus between all 3 of the wineries, as well as Grenache. These are grapes that are native to that area, to Provence, and so that's what they use in the blending. Of course, every winemaker chooses a different blend. Every vintage the winemaker will choose a different blend as well. So it's not an exact science. It's whatever that vintage gives them, and then whatever the preference of that individual winemaker or winery is.
Tell me about aging, and I'm assuming it's probably like stainless.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of these are stainless steel. So you don't typically see a lot of oak or any oak in rosés. And this is aged strictly in stainless steel and concrete eggs.
Nice. Let's talk about how rosé is rosé, because I think a lot of people might think that they blend together red and white things together. But rosé is really actually red grapes that they just let it sit on the skins just for a little bit to get that color and complexity that rosé gets.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. As all those grapes I mentioned, Grenache, Syrah, Cinsault, there's another grape, Mourvedre, that's very common there for blending. Those are all red grapes. But when you squeeze a red grape, the juice inside is actually clear. So if you immediately remove that juice from the crushed grape, you're not really going to extract much color from the red skins. And so that's what they're doing with rosé. You can have a very light colored rosé that has very little contact with that red skin, or you can go into deeper colors, as you're going to see with the next few rosés, where they'll leave that juice in contact for a little bit longer, extracts a little more color, a little more tannins, a little more, a few other elements from that red skin. What do you think of this one?
Well, I've always liked this. I like how dry it is. And that's another thing. There's always an assumption that rosés are fruity or sweet, and this is not at all. This is a very dry wine, and I appreciate a dry rosé. I'm not a big fruity person, so this is very
I'm not
nice.
as well. Yeah, this is very dry, and there has been that kind of misconception, that when pink wines started to come out with, white Zinfandel back in the 80s, those were very sweet. And so I think that has still kind of stuck with some people. But the style of rosés that we're looking at today and the styles of rosé you're seeing on the market, especially from France and other areas, are dry rosés. What I love about them is they are great just for the patio or sipping on while you're cooking dinner, while you're sitting on your patio, while you're in the pool. But they also can pair with some foods. And as we talk about the next two wines, it kind of opens up the world of food with rosé, especially with the last wine.
This one, though, still could go with some, I'm thinking the tuna tartare nachos, some really light fare, even salads. And I think the poached pear salad that we have, like pear would be really good with this.
Oh, yeah, that sounds delicious.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, even like a fruit salad kind of mixed in with some nuttiness too. It's not just fruit in here. You're getting a little bit of saltiness and minerality in this wine. So
a little bit of salinity and a little bit of. You always think kind of red fruits when you think about rosés, right. But very mild. So especially on this one, the little lighter style. But just a delicious classic Provence rosé.
Definitely. So much fun. Well, if anybody knows, they can just come here to the Cork and Keg and buy this.
Wonderful.
And I don't think we talked about it, but you, when you were working with me, you were working with a distribution company, but now you're with a supplier. Tell us the supplier that you're with right now.
Yeah, so now I'm with, we're actually an importer.
Okay.
Although we do have some domestic wines, we do mostly imports. The company is called Co-Brand, and it was founded in New York City. That's still where our headquarters are. But we import wines from pretty much all over the world. I don't have any Greek wines currently, but that's about the only country that you're not seeing. So I have the South American, which you're going to see with the next. I have a lot of French, a lot of Italian, Argentine. We've got Champagne from France. So we've got New Zealand. We kind of, explore the whole globe as far as wine, try to find family winery partners that want us to represent them in the United States, and then we import them and represent them all over. So it's a fun job. I'm absolutely loving it.
Nice. Have you gotten to go anywhere recently or do any fun stuff like that out of the country?
No, I've been able to visit our California properties, which was nice. And I do have a trip to Portugal that will be coming up. So yes, I've never been. So very excited about that. We have some port wines, but we also have some Portuguese still like table wines that we're starting to import, some Alvarinhos and some red blends from the Douro and stuff like that. So yeah, it'll be really exciting. So that'll be coming up.
Nice. I'm so excited for you. I know I'm not excited for you. I'm just jealous. I'm not, because you're not taking me, okay? Because that's definitely bucket list for me is Portugal.
Yeah, I've heard amazing things, and it's one place I've never been, so I'm excited.
Nice. So we tried this very nice bone dry eggs. So let's try the next one.
Okay. And one thing I want to mention also is we were talking about how rosés are drunk fairly young.
Yes.
So this is the 2024 X, and we will be receiving the next vintage in about April. So we're right on the tail end. So it always is a very fresh, young vintage when you're talking about this style of rosé.
Yes.
But I point that out because the next wine that we're going to, which is our Montes Cherub Rosé, this is the 2025, which we've already received. But as you know, in South America, they are 6 months ahead of us as far as when they harvest. So they actually harvested this, 6 months earlier than we would see in France. So all the Southern Hemisphere are harvesting earlier. So this is 25. This is actually my first time to try this vintage. That's how new it is. So it just arrived into the U.S.
Psyched. Okay. Oh, see, so this is a little bit more salmon in color, right? So it's going to sit on the skins a little, or maybe a little bit longer, and also probably a darker grape.
So you notice that difference in color right away, right? That jumps out at you. So Aurelio Montez, who founded the Montez winery down in Chile, his son Aurelio Montez Jr. is currently the winemaker, but he was the first person to ever plant Syrah in Chile. So it's kind of what he's known for. It's his flagship. I mentioned that they were using some Syrah in the Provence Rosé as well, but there's a larger percentage in this Montez Syrah, strictly because it's kind of, again, what he's known for bringing to Chile. It's kind of a flagship for him. He does just a single vineyard Syrah, but he uses a lot of Syrah in this blending.
I love the nose on this. It's almost candy, it's funny. A lot of times with rosé, it's kind of like a bait and switch, because you smell it and you think, oh, this is going to be a sweet wine, but then you taste it and you're like, oh no, it's dry.
Yeah. And I do remember this from the last vintage. It had maybe just a touch more of that kind of forward fruit than some of the Provence rosés, but it's always been a huge hit for us. Everyone that tries this loves this wine.
I love how pronounced the nose is. It just comes,
just jumps out at you.
Jumps out at you. It smells so good. I almost feel like the way the acid works in this wine is like almost kind of effervescent-y.
Oh yeah, cool. That 2025 is delicious.
Yeah,
it's
I love really nice.
So
it's drinking really well.
This is again the Syrah that I was mentioning, and then Grenache and Cinsault. So same grapes, but completely different wine due to stylistic, due to where you are, to the terroir, to the soil, and then also just due to winemaker preferences.
Nice.
So every bottle of the Montez has an angel on it. It's kind of their symbol. One of the owners who also founded the winery with Aurelio had quite a few close encounters and just said that he felt like an angel was always watching over him because he was able to come through these near-death experiences. That's why the angel has become kind of the symbol of the winery. He also says that, he hopes since they watch over him that they will watch over the winery and help them with everything with the winery. So
what a lovely story. And that's what I love about wine is the story. I think we talk a lot about place, but the personal stories that people have with their wines is so incredible. Love that. So where at in Chile is this from?
It's in the Colchagua Valley.
Okay.
So their main, their winery is in an area called Apalta. It's a very high elevation area. It's where you see the finest wines coming out of Chile. I would say compared to California, it would be like the Pritchard Hill or like the Mount Veeder of Napa or of Chile. Mm-hmm. So it's really considered, the highest quality that comes out of there. Right. And that's where their winery is. It's actually a very feng shui winery as well. They have water coming in from 4 points. It's all gravity flow. They play Georgian chant music to their iconic wines while they're aging in barrel for 2 to 4 years, and the music plays nonstop, because they feel like they want the wines to age gracefully and beautifully and be happy while they're aging and be at peace.
So neat. What a great story. So just a real quick reminder. So we have the Axe Rosé that's from Provence. And then now we're doing the Montes Cherub. And we're going to try another wine in just a second. But just a reminder that we're selling wine to Joey and that we're on Boerne Radio 103.9.
Experience Richter right in the heart of Main Street, Boerne, where all your senses will come alive. This is Guy.
And this is Joey, inviting you to feel the cool breeze in our elevated open-air dining room.
See Boerne's original bar, built in 1869.
Here, the Richter wine glasses and custom cocktails clink when you toast your friends and family.
Smell the amazing flavors coming off of every plate, from the grilled Wagyu steaks to our fresh baked pizzas.
And most importantly, our gourmet taste is what we're known for.
From fresh sushi and ceviche to charcuteries and boozy ice creams.
Make your reservation any day of the week at richterburning.com.
The Richter Tavern, the place we all enjoy.
Welcome back to Sell Wine to Joey. I'm Joi Sanders with the Richter here in Boerne, and we're on Boerne Radio 103.9, and I'm here with my good friend Krista from Co-Brand, and we're trying Rosé days. Rosé days. Having some Rosé
all day.
Rosé, oh gosh.
That had a moment, didn't it?
It did have a moment, but that moment is past in my mind. So we tried the X and the Montes Cherub, and we're going to move on to our next wine. I'm so excited. Actually, we do have this wine upstairs. We sell it by the bottle upstairs, and it's something completely different, I think. It's not what people expect.
Yes, definitely. So the last wine that we are trying is the Château d'Icaria Tavel Rosé. And as I mentioned earlier, Tavel is a region in the Southern Rhône, but exclusively rosé production there. This winery goes back to 1525, so a really long history, over 400 years of vines planted there and making wines. Now it has switched hands. The family that owns it now bought it back in 1929, I believe, but just such a long history when you're talking about this region of France and winemaking.
So neat. And you can see already the darker color, the Tavel, that they like to express the grape. You can see absolutely.
The very dark color on this, not what you think of when you think of typical rosés. Right. You know, it's important to understand that Tavel is different than like a Provence rosé, and you can tell that right away when you look at these two.
Yes. It's a serious wine for serious wine drinkers.
It is. Yes. And this is a beautiful food wine as well. So this is a rosé that can really stand up to some dishes. This can stand up to pork dishes, chicken dishes, even lamb. So, you know, if you're looking for a rosé that will actually pair with a little bit heftier food, this is the one you go to.
Yes, definitely. You know what I would like to do with it? I'm thinking like a heavier rosé. We do a mahi, but they grill it. And then when they grill it, it gets kind of smoky. And I think to have like a stronger rosé like this, or not stronger, but a deeper rosé like this really goes well with the fish. If it was like a snapper or something and he would do it a little lighter, then it would be, you know, more with these other rosés. But I think pairing that with our grilled mahi is really great.
Yeah, another thing that it actually goes pretty well with is anything with a little spice. The nice acid in it can hold up to that. If you don't want to pair a spicy food with something with a little sweetness, you can go with a rosé like this, even like with a curry.
Oh, yeah, or a pad thai or something like that, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's drink it.
All right,
let's drink it.
So let me get this open. So this is the only one that has a cork closure today that we're trying. So let me get this open, but this is also 2024 vintage, so we're looking at very fresh rosé, but Tavel rosés can actually age fairly well. So when people think of rosés needing to be young, this is one that can actually age because of that longer skin contact, because of the tannin structure that this is going to have compared to the other rosés. It gives you a little more ageability.
And that, I think that is a thing that people don't realize, is like the amount of tannin and the amount of acid in a wine is what makes it be, and also the amount of residual sugars in it makes it be able to age. That those are the things that kind of counterbalance that aging process. Look at that color, so neat.
Yeah, so they do that skin contact, that juice we talked about that's clear. They let that sit with the skins for longer than they do in some of the other regions in Provence, for say, or even this Montez that we tried down there. But it really gives the wine a little more structure. It gives it more tannin, like we talked about. It helps with the ageability, but it also just makes it a bigger, bolder style of rosé.
It's so complex on the nose. I mean, it's, you're not just getting like one, it's like really complex. When we say complex, right, you're multiple different smells and multiple different probably tastes in it too.
Yeah, and I'm getting a lot of minerality out
Yes.
of this, which sometimes you're just getting more of the red fruits like the cherries and raspberries and strawberries, but this actually is showing quite a bit of that kind of flinty minerality too. But still some beautiful raspberry I get.
Yes. Oh, come on. That's so balanced, right? It is. So you have that complexity and it's that little bit of extra heaviness, but that's a serious wine for serious wine people.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I love to show this because it's not a traditional rosé. And if people aren't familiar with Tavel, they're usually pretty blown away by this.
I think that a lot of times wines like this, people say, I don't drink rosé or I don't drink white wine. And you give them something like this and they're like, oh, this is good. This has complexity. This has a heft to it that you don't usually see in those wines. And those are the people that really need to try this.
Yeah, that'll be more drawn to this style.
Yeah.
And this is one, again, if I was looking to pair a rosé with food, this would be my go-to. If I just wanted something to sip on the patio, I would look at the first two, wines. But that's just my preference. We all have different tastes,
we do, but I'm with you. Anyway, very good.
Isn't that delicious? So long history. Again, Tavel is the area in France and focus specifically on rosé in this area. So kind of a special story committing everything that they do.
Well, I think
rosé.
that area is just so great because, like you said, it's by Côte d'Aron. Côte d'Aron makes some beautiful Grenache style wines, and that's another show that we can do later. You can just bring back some stuff from, Château Neuf later.
I've got them.
Oh, cool. Okay, we'll have to do that another show.
Yeah, I've got Northern Rhône and Southern Rhône,
awesome.
so we can explore both.
Okay, cool. So just to recap, we had the Axe Rosé from Provence. We have the Montes Cherub from Chile. And then we have from Tavel in France. We have the
Château
d'Icaria. Thank you. I keep wanting to say Aquafina, but anyway. I just see the AQ. I was like, anyway. And just a reminder that we've been on Boerne Radio and here at Richter Studios. And we have been talking with my good friend Krista Bryant from years and years, and she will be back again because I'm going to make her come back again. So, when she's not busy enough.
Thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed it and enjoyed kind of visiting some different regions and talking rosé today.
Awesome. And here's to another great day in Boerne, Texas.
Cheers.
Cheers.